If it's Monday night at Vibes Restaurant, you know what it means. It's the Aaron James Coaches Show, and it's coming to you live on the Golden Tiger Sports Network. Glad you could join us for another edition of the Coaches Show. We're live from Vibes Restaurant. Thanks to everybody in attendance here tonight. Got a special show lined up, talking to head coach Aaron James after they clock their 5th win in a row. Victim this time, the Marauders of Central State on the road. Tuskegee with a 30-14 win over Central State. And Coach James, congratulations on win number 5.
Thank you. It was a big one. You know, we needed it, so we got everything done and came out on top. So it's always good to have a W.
Okay, so everybody's going to want you to really speak up tonight because you win 5 in a row. You got to be really over the top with the volume on this one. Talk about that ball game. When on the road, about a 9-hour drive up to Wilberforce, Ohio.
You miss an hour. It's
Okay.
10.
10, okay.
It was a 10-hour ride.
Talk about getting prepared for that ball game because you had that big stretch of road in front of you just to get up there and to get set for the ball game. Talk about how you kind of walked through the front half before the game even started.
Anytime you have a long trip like that, we always try to get them off, leave that Friday and get up and try to find a place to have a walkthrough and let them get their legs back under them and everything of that nature. So then we get to the hotel to have the strength coach have them do some stretches and everything in the ballroom so they can get their legs loose and just get that bus ride out of them and just get prepared for the Saturday. And everything worked out.
Temperature conditions on Saturday, about 58 degrees at game time, 10-mile-per-hour wind. And for us in the broadcast booth, we get there about the same time you all do because we're part of the entourage riding with the buses over. Mm-hmm. It just seemed like we were out there a little bit longer than ordinary for the warm-ups, but we were talking about it before we got on air, and you said it was just a routine practice session for you.
Yeah, it was a routine. It felt that way as well with me. My routine I'll normally sit on the bus or either in the locker room if they have a space for the coaches to sit in, and then at a period of a point of a time, that's when I'll come out and hit the field. So they didn't have that for us, and the buses had to move, and we were just out there just the guys were getting warmed up, just feeling the turf, getting the atmosphere and everything, and they just came out, and then we went through our normal routine, and stretch lines and everything, and just our normal pregame repetition.
We talked about it prior to the ball game last Monday night about what you were expecting to see from the Marauders going into that ball game. What was it on game day that you were looking for from them that you thought you all had to pay attention to?
Defensively, they was flying around. They was trying to bring blitzes from different areas and trying to confuse our quarterback. But the O-line held up a couple of times. We gave up a couple of sacks when the Bill didn't get the ball out of his hand on time. But other than that, we were just locked in, and the guys just played all 3 phases of the game.
You talked about it and said that that's what they do. They do a lot of flying around. They were not that big, but they were filling those holes defensively early on. Mm-hmm. Had a chance to catch up with Coach Williams today right at the Pavilion or Field House, and he was talking about the ball game, and I was asking him about that. He said the same thing, is that we saw that early on, made some adjustments for that, and then started trying to sneak around their heavy pursuit, which really worked out well for the offense. So strategy for the Golden Tigers going into that ball game, you knew that's what you had to do defensively. And what was your thought going into it in terms of what you wanted to achieve offensively in this ball game early on?
We wanted to establish the run. I mean, anytime you going against an odd front, you always try to establish the run first, and then everything will follow from after that. So we was able to put the ball on the ground and get some yardage. And anytime you establish a run, you always thinking about the clock, time of possession. So anytime you're doing that and then getting in the zone, I mean, it's a win-win.
This win for the Golden Tigers, conference-wise, keeps us definitely in the middle of the heat as it relates to number 1 and number 2 finishing to play in the championship ball game. I know that was an important win for the Golden Tigers, but what was the mood after the team won that contest on Saturday?
Well, it's always a good mood. Anytime you get a W, we celebrate a W, and we have a 24-hour rule. So, and then after that, we on to our next opponent. But that, like I said, we're tied right now up in the rankings, number 3 with Albany State and Fort Valley. So, it's just one game at a time with us, and Clark Atlanta's in the way. They on the clock.
We'll talk about the Panthers at the latter part of the show, but you're right, they are out there. Golden Tigers winning on Saturday 30-14. Take our first time out here on the Golden Tiger Sports Network. When we come back, we'll talk offense with head coach Aaron James. After this time out, stay with us.
Greetings. I am Amari Christopher Harden, the 66 Executive SGA President here at Tuskegee University. Stop what you're doing. Go to your phone, go to your computer, or go to the nearest monitor located near you and look up your voter registration status. And if you are registered to vote, then you must head to the polls on November 5th, 2024 to cast your vote for this primary election. And bring one, for we must be the change that we desire to see. In order to do that, we must have community. So again, on November 5th, 2024, we vote. TU.
Be the you you've always wanted to be. Wind Creek Casino. It's your kind of fabulous.
Rivals, us versus them, survival. We must win, it's tribal. My team like Ken, by any means necessary. One head to head with adversaries. Nothing is given, so we gotta take.
I love the lake. It's like one of the few places I can just let go and be myself. I really love it here.
Back live inside of Vibes Restaurant. Still got time to come down. Head coach Aaron James here talking about the win by the Golden Tigers over the weekend, 30-14 over the Marauders of Central State. Special thanks to Willie Streeter and the team here at Vibes Restaurant for hosting us every week here with the Aaron James Coaches Show. Loudest person inside the restaurant. Back into the bar, there's Athletics Director Reginald Ruffin, encouraging everybody to come down and eat what the AD eats. You may not be able to eat as much as he eats, but you can get the same thing off of the menu. But we're live here from Vibes and Coach. We go into offense now. 377 yards total offense for the Golden Tigers of Tuskegee, 209 of that on the ground. As you referenced a few moments ago, wanted to come in and establish the running game. Obviously, that happened.
Yeah, it did. We had like I say, running back by committee. And we was able to get Rouser in, the new guy that I was telling you about, the freshman. He had some touches at the end of the game, so just to get him going. But those guys, they put it on the ground and they just followed behind the offensive line. The offensive line did a great job of opening some holes for the guys, and they just followed suit.
Johnny March still out of the lineup. Chase was not there as well, but you had Zena coming back, had a good ball game for you, carrying the rock.
Yeah, Zena came back. He's like he never missed a beat.
Yep.
He this is like his second game back, and he just anytime one of those guys are in the game, like I say, any one of those guys can get 4 yards or better. So we lean on those guys, and like I said, the offensive line are pushing the pile and making a new line of scrimmage across the line of scrimmage, and those guys are just following their paths and toting the rock.
In that football game, had 4 touchdowns overall. 3 of those were on the ground. And right now the team is 22nd in passing overall with just 4 interceptions on the season. So really starting to get a good balance. If we're talking about the run game right now in terms of that multiple set of running backs that you have, really put them into some good situations as we talk about run, and really had to mix things up a little bit with I guess you could call it a trick play to get that first touchdown of the ball game. It came after the Golden Tigers went on a 9-play, 54-yard drive that took up almost 6 minutes of time off of the clock. Let's talk about that finishing run, because it turned out to be the wide-out Reggie Brigman that actually scored the touchdown, but on a run.
Yeah, we was down in the red zone, down in the goal line, and we was running the ball off tackle. and Coach Williams, he just came in and did the it was a handoff with a sweep to Reggie Brickman. That was the first touchdown. So it was set up by committee, and he was able to get in the end zone.
What you're actually watching there is that long run downfield by Beckford.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that one in a moment because that was a big play there by Beckford to really break things open for that Golden Tiger offense. But on that run by Brigman, just a little pitch around the corner on a reverse to him that really worked well and really surprised that Marauder defense.
Yeah, it was a speed sweep. Like I said, we went under the center, and Brickman came in fast motion, and Bill was able to hand the ball off to him, and on the speed sweep to the left, and he was able to get in the zone. So, like I said, we set it up. They thought we was going to run the ball again to try to get in between the tackles, but we was able to get outside on them.
And that really kind of broke things open in that first half as you take a look at it here. As Brigman coming back from that right side all the way to the left on that pitch. Beautifully done, as you referenced, in terms of the play call and getting outside with that speed.
Yes, he was. He's an excellent player. I mean, anytime his number is called, he's going to make something happen with the ball.
And that kind of set the tone there because prior to that, and that score there came late in the first quarter. It looked like it was a boxing match. That's the way Mark Lassiter was referring to it in the booth. It's everybody in the middle of the ring just jabbing, trying to find an open space, and it took almost a full quarter to finally break through with that touchdown.
Yeah, anytime offensively you were able to get in that box in the end zone, you kind of wake up from there, and then everything just you got to get the first taste of the end zone, and everything else after that will be easy.
That got the confidence going there. You can see the work of the line right down there. A good shot for our camera crew to be right there at camera level to get that. That kind of got things going, and we came right back again in that second quarter, about midway through there to get that next touchdown. And this one was set up and went on an 11-play, 85-yard drive by the Golden Tigers, which, again, was consuming a lot of time, and you got the result you wanted with a touchdown. This one coming with Ronaldo Spivey from 5 yards out for the Golden Tigers.
Yes, we preach about it all week. We want to sustain drives offensively and eventually get in the end zone. And right here you can see Spivey he slipped out the back, and the corner was kind of trying to play two men, and he wasn't able to get out on the running back. And Spivey got soft hands. He can catch a bullet in the night. So, but he has soft hands, and he was able to catch the ball in the end zone.
And Bill with a good pass there out in the flats to get it into hands of Spivey. Spivey with the grab. I think that was Ronaldo's first touchdown of the season for the Golden Tigers, too.
Yes, it was.
So that was the second score. That made it 14-0. And then we got the 43-yard field goal by In Ryan We Trust.
Right, in Larkin We Trust.
We started referring to him that way over the weekend after the run here, but he hit from 43 yards away. And another good performance by him. We'll talk more about him in special teams, but was able to get that score. He got that early 17-0 lead. They were to respond with a touchdown of their own to make it 17-7. Then in the third, Desmond Leverett on a 3-yard run after a 6-play 30-yard drive for the Golden Tigers, which we had a really short field to work with in terms of starting that drive.
Yes, it's all about field position. Anytime you're able to start on the plus, I mean, it's good. Play calling it shrinks down so you can get in your bag a little bit. But looking here, right here, Leverett, he goes off tackle to the left, and he was able to get in his end zone. And I think that was his first touchdown on the year as well.
Of course, we capped off our scoring in the ball game as you look at Desmond on the ground level shot there, sliding in left side after a 8-play, 82-yard drive. And that's what's so impressive about the day on Saturday. The drives consumed a lot of yardage and took a lot of time off the clock. That's exactly what you want offensively.
Yes. Exactly. Like I've been preaching that anytime you want to win time possession on offense, you want to sustain drives, get first downs, and score touchdowns. That's all it's about.
What we're looking at now is probably the prettiest play we've had so far this season. That's Beckford scores from 53 yards out. As you take a look at it, you just see him kind of setting that up as we go on another trick play with the reverse, just kind of pointing to getting a block upfield. And just that little burst of speed in between those two defenders enabled him to get to the touchdown for the Golden Tigers.
Yeah, it was a wildcat set, and the running backs ended up running a speed sweep with actually an outside zone to the left, and Beckford came around on the reverse, back around to the right-hand side, and he split those defenders. And he was pointing at the offensive lineman, Sean Stidden, to go block somebody.
Sure.
He was able to go ahead and put a hand on somebody. Then, like I said, he split the defenders, and he just took off.
So Beckford with 53 yards on the ground with that one touchdown run, had 2 receptions in that ball game for 51 yards. So really making a contribution to that offense. in multiple ways that I know it's good for you and for offensive coordinator Harry Williams as well.
Yes, anytime you have weapons like that on the field, you want to put them in every situation that they can make something happen when they have the ball in their hand. And we was able to do that Saturday, and it paid off for us.
Time of possession in this football game, based upon what we've just been talking about in terms of the quarters, it really enabled us to really take advantage of that with almost 35 minutes of handling that football. And I know that's the way you want it, because if you're getting scores and you're keeping them off the field, that's a winning formula.
Yes, anytime you can keep their offense off the field and you're able to sustain drives and, like I say, getting first downs and touchdowns, I mean, you should be able to win a ball game.
337 yards total offense for the Golden Tigers, 209 of that on the ground and another 128 in the air. Beckford with some good solid numbers, had that one interception in the ball game, but hit most of his targets in that ball game.
Yeah, Bill, like I said, he's still coming back, trying to find himself. And I told him again, he still left a lot of yards out there on the field. So week in and week out, he's growing, he's maturing, and just he got to play in the system. I mean, that's the only way he's going to be able to flourish in his offense.
Golden Tigers offensively, good job in that ball game against the Marauders of Central State. Come to a second time out here. When we come back, we'll be talking defense for the Golden Tigers. Just ahead here from Vibes Restaurant on the Aaron James Coaches Show. Stay with us.
Greetings. I am Zanaya Sims, a senior pre-law political science major from Little Rock, Arkansas, currently serving as the executive judicial advisor. And why you should vote. Our ancestors fought tirelessly to vote, going through unimaginable obstacles to make sure that their voices were heard. Voting on November 5th, you will be able to protect your future and protect the ones that you love. Thank you.
I love the lake. It's like one of the few places I can just let go and be myself. I really love it here.
Fans, join the Tuskegee University Athletic Department as they host the Golden Athletic Celebration, a special event in honor of the university's centennial homecoming. The celebration will take place on November 8th, 2024, from 8 p.m. to midnight at the Renaissance Hotel in Montgomery. As part of the historic 100th homecoming, the Golden Athletic Celebration promises to be an unforgettable evening, featuring a live band, DJ, complimentary food, exciting giveaways, door prizes, and an open cash bar. The event will bring together alumni, fans, athletes, and supporters of Tuskegee's rich athletic legacy for a night of entertainment and celebration. Tickets for the celebration are priced at $135 and can be purchased through Tuskegee University Athletics Department website or by scanning the QR code on screen. Join us for a night to remember as we celebrate Tuskegee's athletic heritage and 100 years of excellence.
Back live here inside Vibes Restaurant, and just on cue as we come back to air, head coach Benji Taylor into Vibes Restaurant. And we're going to be talking to him hopefully at some point to talk a little bit about that big announcement on campus on Thursday as the Golden Tigers selected to play on NBA All-Star Weekend out in Oakland, California in mid-February of next year. Golden Tigers will be playing the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College on that Friday night HBCU ball game as part of NBA All-Star Weekend. So please make your plans to join and support the Golden Tigers of Tuskegee as they play in that event, which is a big announcement for Tuskegee University and the athletics department. So congratulations to Coach Taylor and the men's basketball team, to A.D. Ruffin and President Brown for putting on an outstanding show at the prep rally and press conference on Thursday that make that announcement about them going out as a part of that weekend. Also, while we're talking about accolades going out now to the Tuskegee University cross-country team, both men and women. The men and women in that cross-country event earlier this week, women finished second overall, and the men finished third in the cross-country event, though that second and third place finished the absolute best in cross-country history for the Golden Tiger cross-country program. So congratulations to Coach LaShawna Easterly and the Tuskegee University cross-country team as a second and third place finisher in the SIAC. Also, as it relates to all conference standings on the women's side, Anaya Martin, she was first overall in terms of finishing in cross-country. Anitria Sangster and Akira Walker, third for Sangster, sixth for Walker overall, and they were all three on the SIAC women's team. And on the men's side, Dennis Kibbitt, he finished sixth overall, and he was named SIAC as well. So congratulations to Tuskegee Cross Country for a job well done. Coach, talk about a job well done. That Golden Tiger defense on Saturday limited the Marauders of Central State to just 62 yards on the ground. In the air, they only had 181 for a total of 243 on the day. Your thoughts about the defense?
Defense is playing good. I mean, I've been saying this week in and week out, they're playing good ball. And like I say, I think we're top right now in the conference in rush defense, and those guys do a great job on that side of the ball of stopping the run, and they buy into it week in and week out in practice. So I'm just excited for that unit, and I just can't wait to see what they got this week.
We'll run down those numbers as you started with them. They're top of the nation and SIAC in fourth down conversions, only giving up 10% of opposition converting on fourth down. They're first in the SIAC in first downs allowed with only 122 at this point in the season. That defense is second in Division II and first in the SIAC in red zone defense as well at 48%, limiting teams in that category. And first in the SIAC in scoring defense, only 26 points allowed for the Golden Tigers of Tuskegee. So really outstanding job. That's on average at 26 points. But a good job by that defense just really putting up the numbers, and it's showing as it relates to the results on the field, because they are really shutting down teams. And when we came into this ball game against Marauders of Central State, you were concerned about what they would be doing offensively that might cause problems for the defense.
Yeah, about film study, we've been looking at film through all last week, and they was playing 2 or 3 quarterbacks, and we just knew some of the quarterback skill sets was different, and those guys, they ran around the ball, and they was able to get some sacks and just keep the quarterback balled up in the pocket, and at times when he was trying to throw the ball. But I think they came in at the end of the game, the 2 minutes that they drove down the ball, well, actually when number 11 got in the game, he was able to come in and strike up the band a little bit at one time. So we was able to, hold them all the way to the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they looked a lot differently when Boney was in there, and then when Hill came in, they kind of got a spark, and really he elevated their offense. But again, the adjustments made on the defense to shut him down. He wound up going just 10 of 16 after taking over.
Yes, he did. Like I said, the guys, we made adjustments, and it was just one of those plays where one of the safeties was out of place. His eyes was in the wrong spot, and they was able to hit one of the receivers up down the middle of the field for a big game.
Second weekend in a row that the defense is led by Charles Davis at linebacker. Just outstanding all over the field on Saturday. And another good job from Rossi Grimes in that secondary as well, just to point those two out. Yeah,
those two guys are they playing good ball. Rossi, he's the leader in the secondary, and C.J. Davis, he's the field general of the whole offense. I mean, the whole defense. So those guys are. I mean, it's a 1-2 punch. But actually, we got so many guys on that side of the ball. Any guy can step up week in and week out. So I'm just proud of that unit. And like they say, defense wins championships and offense win ball games. So we're going to see this weekend what we'll be able to come up against.
Michael King got his second pick of the ball game, came late in the contest, but he's starting to really had that injury early on, got an early pick, as you referenced in the Edward Waters game, but they're on the spot to get his second of the season. So that secondary, kind of maligned coming into that weekend, because the week prior to that had given up almost 400 yards in terms of passing, but really settled in against the Marauders.
Yeah, they did. Michael King, he should have batted the ball down at the end of the game, but he wanted to try to pack, stack his stacks, But I told him about that. Anytime the ball on a Hail Mary, we got to make sure that we bat the ball down. And he was just being a little stubborn at the time and just try to, he wanted the interception. But we don't do that. That's not what's supposed to happen. Anytime that formation is in, you got to bat the ball down. But I know he's a guy that he's a gnat for the ball, but that wasn't the time for it. And he just, I mean, it seemed like teams are going away from him week in and week out, but they know that he was an all-conference guy. He's All-American, and I told him, I said, King, I mean, you're not the same King last year. I mean, they're not throwing the ball your way.
Sure.
You know, they're not throwing the ball your way. So he's humbled and he's locked in, and I think this weekend is going to be special for him. It's going to be a big weekend for him.
It will have to be against the Panthers, Clark Atlanta. We'll talk more about that after we talk about special teams. That's ahead in our next segment of the Aaron James Coaches Show, and it's coming your way on the Golden Tiger Sports Network after this timeout.
Willie Streeter here, owner of Vibes Restaurant and Lounge in Tuskegee, Alabama. Also the host of the Aaron James Coaches Show. And this is the Golden Tiger Sports Network.
Fans, mark your calendars for a monumental event. Tuskegee University will celebrate the 100th homecoming this year on November 9th, 2024. Join us on Saturday inside Abbott Memorial Alumni Stadium as the Golden Tigers take on the Miles Golden Bears with kickoff set for a 1 p.m. start time. Be sure to come out early, wear your crimson and gold, and help us make this homecoming one for the history books. We'll see you there.
Hey everyone, I'm Scotteria Scott, a graduated senior animal science major hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, currently serving as the Executive SGA Elections Commissioner. As we celebrate homecoming, I want to take a moment to highlight an important event happening on November 5th, Voting Day. This year, our voices matter more than ever. Whether you're a first-time voter or someone who's voted before, let's make this homecoming memorable, not just by celebrating, but by standing up and making a difference. Vote on November 5th.
Staying up to date on all recommended vaccines is one of the safest preventative care measures available to protect you and your family from disease. Many children and adults that delayed vaccination during the pandemic are still behind schedule. It is crucial that we take steps to get everyone back on track with their routine immunizations. Tuskegee fans, let's all do our part to get back on track. Protect yourself and others by making sure you are up to date on all recommended vaccines, including respiratory virus vaccines. Don't wait. Vaccinate. For more information, visit alabamapublichealth.gov/IMM.
Final segment of the show. For this episode of the Aaron James Coaches Show, we talk about special teams for the Golden Tigers of Tuskegee after they win at 30-14 over the Marauders of Central State on Saturday up in Wilberforce, Ohio. And, Coach, as we talk about special teams, we go back to our familiar theme. In Larkin, we trust.
Exactly. Good special kid.
Only a chip shot for him at 28 yards on the field goal last weekend, but just perfect in the point after attempts, except for the last one. He came into the ball game 5 of 5 over his last point after attempts. Got the first 3, and then they got a block on the 9th one. But he is still had a good performance this weekend, and hoping that the conference is going to notice that in terms of special teams. He was Special Teams Player of the Week last weekend. We'll see if he can do it for 2 weekends in a row. But as you reference, a special player and really had a special impact in the ball game against the Marauders of Central State. We know he can do it with his legs as it relates to kicking. But here we're going to take a look at him doing it with his legs in a way that's kind of unconventional for Larkin.
Yes, this play, it wasn't designed. He was holding the ball, just trying to get the special teams, the punt team down. And he saw that everybody was running down the field, and I'm on the sideline telling him, just run to get the first down. So he was able to use his legs and wheels, and he think he's a running back by trade. But he was able to get the first down and continue to keep the offense on the field.
Well, I tell you, it's just so unusual watching it from the press box upstairs, because as you take a look at the shot now, everybody on the field is already downfield.
Yeah.
Larkin's just sitting there, and he was walking with the football for about 5 yards or so, just trying to figure, okay, what do I do now? As you take a look at him here, 4 or 5 steps of just, are they going to come back at me?
Exactly. Like I say, I was just telling him to just run the ball and get the first down and get out of bounds. And you can see on the sideline, he tried to lower his pads instead of trying to get out of bounds, and try to run through the defender. But he just got to understand when he's in that situation, he just got to get down or get out of bounds and just make it to the next play.
And what's so special about that run, because it was in a critical point in the ball game that we really needed to keep that football, and it just worked to perfection. We were thinking, okay, it was a specially called play, but we hear you saying that it was just what happened on the field, and he saw it, and he took off.
Yeah, it was just instincts, and like I say, he saw it and just saw green, and he ran to it, and like I say, it wasn't designed, and it was in our favor that it happened. So. I mean, like I say, he's just a special kid and just know the traits of special teams all around.
Also, with his legs in the football game, kept that field advantage and our advantage throughout by his punting, averaged almost 40 yards per punt in the ball game. So really coming into his own and turning that football over and pushing it downfield.
Like a field position, field advantage, that's a plus. Anytime you can start in your plus zone is good. And anytime you can put the offense on their minus and the defense in a good situation where they got to drive the whole field to try to score. So, I mean, that's good on both ends.
Also on special teams, got another block this weekend to continue leading in that category. Jarrell Colbert able to penetrate this time and get a block that really enabled things to stay in our favor as it relates to the floor of the ball game.
Yeah, that team there, they going at it. They have a high energy, and they practice on it in practice week in and week out. And like I say, they got a knack for the ball. When the ball is in, they call it thump thump. When you hear that thump thump, you already know it's blocked. So they looking to scoop and score after that.
So good work there on special teams by Colbert to get in there and get a hand on that. He's so steady for the defensive unit up front, but good job by him to get that block for the Golden Tigers. Golden Tigers win it to 30-14. A lot of that effort coming as a result of what happened on special teams. So offense, defense, special teams, that's what wins. And the Golden Tigers won their fifth on Saturday against the Marauders of Central State. This coming weekend, it'll be the Panthers of Clark Atlanta up in Atlanta. We'll talk about that just ahead and what we'll look forward to in the Golden Tigers to pull out their sixth in a row just ahead here on the Golden Tigers Sports Network.
Staying up to date on all recommended vaccines is one of the safest preventative care measures available to protect you and your family from disease. Many children and adults that delayed vaccination during the pandemic are still behind schedule. It is crucial that we take steps to get everyone back on track with their routine immunizations. Tuskegee fans, let's all do our part to get back on track. Protect yourself and others by making sure you are up to date on all recommended vaccines, including respiratory virus vaccines. Don't wait. Vaccinate. For more information, visit alabamapublichealth.gov/IMM.
I love the lake. It's like one of the few places I can just let go and be myself. I really love it here.
Fans, join the Tuskegee University Athletic Department as they host the Golden Athletic Celebration, a special event in honor of the university's centennial homecoming. The celebration will take place on November 8th, 2024, from 8 p.m. to midnight at the Renaissance Hotel in Montgomery. As part of the historic 100th homecoming, the Golden Athletic Celebration promises to be an unforgettable evening, featuring a live band, DJ, complimentary food, exciting giveaways, door prizes, and an open cash bar. The event will bring together alumni, fans, athletes, and supporters of Tuskegee's rich athletic legacy for a night of entertainment and celebration. Tickets for the celebration are priced at $135 and can be purchased through Tuskegee University Athletics Department website or by scanning the QR code on screen. Join us for a night to remember as we celebrate Tuskegee's athletic heritage and 100 years of excellence.
Back live at Vibes Restaurant here as we get set to close things out. We do so by talking about what's ahead this coming weekend, Coach James, and it's the Panthers of Clark Atlanta, a program you know well, and they right now will come into this ball game just behind the pack with Miles, and then us, Fort Valley, Albany State, kind of tied for second and third, and they're right there at 5-2 in conference play. So that's significant in terms of that ball game. Probably the most important thing. Also significant for this ball game, a 10-game win streak for the Golden Tigers against the Panthers coming into that contest. And also important is we're going to be facing the number 1 quarterback in the SIAC and an offense that's very potent as it relates to a passing game, which squares up with our defense, particularly the secondary, in terms of having to play big on Saturday against that Panther pass offense.
Yes, David Wright. He's the lead. He was the league MVP last year. He's a good quarterback. Like you say, he's leading in the conference right now in passing. He's going to spin it around. Going to try to spin it around this weekend. And defensively, we just got to make sure that we're in place, not out of phase, and our discipline is good. And just have to rally down when the ball is thrown to the receivers or to the running back, whoever he throws it to. So we just got to make sure that we all in phase into the game.
They were idle this past weekend. A plus or minus for us coming into that?
It's a hit and miss with it. Sometimes you get out of rhythm if you're not playing the week prior. So I'm hoping that's the case, without them getting the rhythm. So hopefully we just got to go in with our game plan and just see what we got to have.
How do you shut down that offense of theirs? Is it more coverage from the secondary or more pressure up front from the offensive line?
It's both. You got to put pressure on a guy that want to sit in there and throw the ball. And like I say, we just got to keep him contained in the pocket and just try to make him make tough throws. And like I say, the defensive backs in the secondary just got to make sure that they're in the right position and don't get fooled by any smoke and mirrors. So they just got to make sure their eye discipline is good and just rally to the ball when the ball is thrown.
In your estimation, is this going to be a ball game of trying to outscore them or press them down?
No, we just got to, offensively for us, we got to maintain drives. And like I say, winning the time of possession, keeping their offense off the field, and sustaining the running game. We got to do that. Like we've been preaching that week in and week out, and this is a game that we really need to lean on, trying to establish a run, just to keep their offense off the field. They're explosive. I mean, we see that weekend. They're able to come back from 21 points down if they need to, but we just got to make sure that we keep them off the field and just play our style of game and just play ball.
The win will put you at 6 in a row and keep us right there in the hunt for either number 1 or number 2 as it relates to finishing in SIAC play. But a big challenge against the Panthers of Clark Atlanta at Panther Stadium on Saturday. That's a 12 p.m. kick up there. Is it 1?
It's 1.
1 o'clock.
It's 1. Yeah, Coach Keaton, he's a good friend of mine. He called me. This was doing.
He might tell you it starts at 3, right?
No, this was before we even kicked off. This was during the summer. He was just telling me that he's gonna switch up the time for me. But he's a good friend of mine. I know he's gonna have the team ready to roll, and we're gonna be ready to roll as well.
And we will be ready to roll as well on the Golden Tiger Sports Network. We'll have audio coverage for you from Panther Stadium, that ball game on ESPN Plus. But we invite you to watch it on the ESPN Plus, turn down their volume, and turn up the sound for GTSN. You'll get a better quality look and sound of what's going on with Golden Tiger football. Coach, thanks for having us over.
Well, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you on Monday after your 6th win in a row over the Panthers of Clark Atlanta.
Appreciate that.
Head coach Aaron James, thoughts on this coming weekend and what happened this past weekend. And thanks to all of you here at Vibes Restaurant for joining us here for this episode of the Aaron James Coaches Show. Back here on Monday night as the Panthers from Clark Atlanta will be another victim for the Golden Tigers of Tuskegee. Join us then on the Golden Tigers Sports Network.